Okay, so I am one of, I think, many people who's hesitant to move my company's events to a virtual forum, but I was told to check out this interview, so
sit down and
here we
chat
go.
about the life of virtual events right now. As you know, I'm kind of an event nerd, having done it for quite a while. But I'm really inspired by your story, not only for the work you're doing, but also your amazingly quick pivot that you've done to take most or not all. Is it all your events now are virtual?
Yeah, right? All of our events are virtual.
It's mind-blowing what you've been able to do. You have a small team, you've got a big mission and a big goal, and it's really inspiring to me. And I just love to share this story with others that are really struggling to understand how they can make this transition in their business. But first, tell us about you and the foundation, because I think that's critical, and I want to celebrate and honor that.
Great, thank you. So I have been with Toigo about 17 years, and the Toigo mission is focused on advancing diverse leadership in the financial services industry. That has been our focus for over 30 years. We celebrated our 30th year in 2019, and we work with a variety of finance firm.
Okay, finance people. I seriously doubt it's easy to get them on board with this.
That program was kind of what led us to the Echo in early March, I guess it was. That we had to make this pivot.
So question number one is, how did you get there quickly mentally for you? Mm-hmm. Meaning, and pivoting your events, realizing that your events are a critical part of your business and that you needed to maintain them. And then secondly, if you could help us talk about, how did you convince the others around you, so your stakeholders and then your crowd and your audience, that this was the right solution?
I guess I was helped along in my thinking because our venue got pulled out from under us. The event was supposed to happen in New York, which back in early March was the epicenter of the pandemic here in the States. And the host, our location host, was a big investment bank, and they basically shut down their building. And so that got me to thinking, and we obviously knew things like Zoom were an option.
Ugh, if I never hear the word Zoom again, it'll be too soon.
But we wanted something that really preserved the level of engagement that students as well as sponsors expect from this particular event. So I literally Googled online classrooms or something like that.
You didn't Google Ryan Costello? That's not.
I did not. I didn't. Okay. I didn't know how awesome you were yet. But found a phone number, and I just literally called the first person whose name popped up, and it happened to be the salesperson. So it worked out. We were able to do a demo, I want to say the same day. Then when we found out that it was customizable and that we can have our own private campus, like that just continued to sell us on the tool.
Thank you, Narissa. Customizable was my next question.
Our enthusiasm also translated and sort of trickled down to our sponsors. And we were able to share screenshots with them just to, dealing with a lot of finance firms sometimes is tricky because they have so many firewalls and blocks and things that they can't do. And they just don't tend to be super creative in their approach to anything. And one of the things I think is really cool is that a lot of the firms that participated in this event have come back to us to say, where did you find that? Can we talk to them? So I think just the fact that they're interested in potentially using the platform tells us that we made the right choice.
Great. But what about results?
So here you are rattling off that not only did they do it, they want to consider it for other stuff they're doing, but how's your sponsorship efforts going? Sounds like it's going well.
First of all, I should go back and say we decided we were not changing pricing for our sponsorships for our event.
Wait, did she just say what I think she said? We got to rewind that.
We decided we were not changing pricing for our sponsorships for our event.
Yeah, she sure did.
I want to give you a huge hug, nerd. I love this. Yes.
It was still an investment for us to purchase the software and build it out. And it was, in our minds, a change of venue. It wasn't a change in the event itself. There were certainly things about it that were different. But to me, it was like we moved the event from New York to LA.
Yeah, but I bet you changed ticket prices.
And we didn't really get any pushback from sponsors.
And you didn't change pricing on ticketing either, attendees, right?
We did not. No, I was just going to say we have an attendee price for that event. We definitely got I wouldn't say pushback, but questions from attendees before they really knew what the tool would be. Just they heard virtual and automatically assumed it should be free.
Yeah.
But once we explained to them that we were making an investment in something that was going to deliver a unique experience for them, then it wasn't really a question of why the cost.
It sounds like you did a great job marketing and selling to your sponsors and your attendees that this was going to be an experience and they trusted you.
But how? What did she do?
Anything else that you did from a marketing standpoint to get their buy-in? Did you give tours to sponsors in advance?
We did. At your suggestion, we hosted office hours. So we had a colleague who spent her time kind of becoming our internal expert. And she still loves the tool very much. She actually was a temp with us at the time. She's now with us full time.
So this event was so successful, they're actually hiring people right now?
Our account manager, Gab, was a godsend. She was always available to us to answer questions. She tuned in to our event. Some of the sessions started at like 5 a.m. Pacific time, and she was right there with us. She was part of our group chat on the cell phone.
That's good to know.
Just so that we could, yell and say, "Hey, we're having this issue or that issue," and she also helped us to navigate questions from the audience during the sessions.
You get that camaraderie, you get that like adrenaline rush, and like when you're done, you're exhausted, and you're like, "We did it!"
Yeah. And we assigned specific roles to specific members of our team, and we told our attendees who those people were and what their roles were.
Yeah.
So they knew when they set foot on campus that they were going to see Glenn at the entrance, and Glenn was going to welcome them and send them to where they needed to be. They knew that Shaquille would be monitoring the public chat, so if they had any kind of technical issues, they could just type it in the chat, and he would kind of triage, get the right person to help them. Gab chipped in a lot with that, and Stephen Whedon did too. And then they knew that I was actually the person recording the event, so I guess I was the videographer, and that Christy, who's the director of the program, was really in charge of the content and the speakers. We did also several test runs. We did lots of speaker prep, which I think was really useful. Just helping people to kind of familiarize themselves in what was before then an unfamiliar environment.
Were you doing streaming or no, not yet?
Not yet, but we did. We were on late one night. It was like 8 o'clock my time here in California with, I can't remember his name, but he was awesome. One of your techs who lives out in, I think, Connecticut.
Yeah.
And he helped us do an audio workaround so that we could do like a stream audio into one of the rooms.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, through my avatar. So
how was attendance? Talk to me about attendance, like as far as registration and people showing up. Good turnout?
Oh, really good. Yeah. We had, I want to say about 40 sponsors, which is actually more sponsors than we've had in the past 2 years when the event was in person.
Whoa.
Wow.
I think a virtual event actually lends itself to increased participation, because a firm that maybe wouldn't normally be able to get someone to travel to New York to be on a panel can get someone to be on a panel from wherever they are. And I think that actually enhanced participation.
Sounds like they were participating with their checkbooks.
Yeah, that's right. It's more inclusive in some ways, right? Because it's less travel, less time commitment. So what's the biggest challenge you've found so far? Moving to virtual and maybe this solution.
Okay, I'm here for this.
With this being our first fully virtual event, I mean, we've certainly done webinars and things like that in the past, but the biggest lesson was that we should have communicated much sooner to all attendees, including sponsors, what the technical requirements would be. I think we took for granted that everyone could download something to their computer, and not realizing that a vast majority of our sponsors had to get approval to download the software to a work computer. So that was a lesson learned. It wasn't a huge insurmountable problem, but it was definitely a lesson learned. And the other thing we learned is that there are just some things that are always going to be outside of your control. We won't be able to ever control, people's internet bandwidth, or their internet speed, or whether or not they've got 3 kids, doing distance learning while they're on the event. And so they've got to drag on their internet. Or like myself, if they've got a dog and other people in their household. I think just with anything new that you're doing, even if it's an in-person event, any new aspect you add just creates a round of questions. And we have a population that either we've spoiled them so they feel that they can have us hold their hand, or they just are people that happen to all need their hand held.
Yeah.
So we did do a lot of hand holding and troubleshooting with people, but a lot of it wasn't because it wasn't an issue with the software. It was just like individual comfort with technology or what have you.
So what's the rest of the year look like? You got some more events planned, or what's your calendar like?
Yes. Would you do it again?
We are going to use Verbella again in September. And then we have a women's conference that we're hosting virtually that will be in October. We're excited. We've seen a lot of the new features that are being added to the open campus and that are soon going to roll down to the private campuses. So we're excited about that.
Awesome. So well, you're the best, and you're obviously a leader in this space, and we'll keep coming back to you. But thank you for your time today. I'm glad to be able to share this story because it's an impressive one.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Okay. I'm in.